Hello and welcome to my new sketchbook. I'm Sandy Allnock and this is my new Lake Michigan Book Press Sketch-A-Day. It has enough paper to sketch every day. It's made by hand. I'll tell you more about it as we go. It's made custom just for me by Crystal in Michigan. And I ordered this summer and I've been waiting for another reason to get to it, but today is the day to share the first painting. So I went out for a walk to think about what I was going to paint, and I will show you where I got my reference from. Starting a new sketchbook is most often terrifying because what if you mess up that first page, right? And this one is a giant book. And I remember the last one panicking me too. How do you start it? And if you're going to do something really amazing, can you keep that up? Or if you're going to do something terrible in a sketchbook like this, it's not really possible to just tear out a page without messing up all of the beautiful bindery that's already been done. So I went out for a walk to put off the decision. I almost painted these last red berries. They're actually supposed to be black berries, but there's still a few red ones out there. Don't know why. Should be black already. But then I just started looking around in the forest section of the walk that I do with the doggos. I turned my phone so it was looking up, and I was trying to find a composition that I liked because I thought it would be fun to paint an up view of the tops of the trees, the canopy. And I was looking for interesting tree shapes and also a variety of leaf sizes. So some leaves that would be down low. There were some madrona and, some magnolias. I think they're magnolias according to iNaturalist. Just a bunch of different ones to just see what would look nice in a horizontal painting in this sketchbook. So I would turn my phone around. I hope it's not making you dizzy. And trying to lay out nature and tell Mother Nature, okay, I want this tree over there. I want this much sky. Because I wanted a passage of sky coming through. But I wanted something that will just inspire me when I open the sketchbook. And I kind of figured that looking up at the sky might be some good inspiration. And it would give me something unique for the first page, as well as something I already know how to paint. I know how to paint trees. This is just a different view of them. So this is getting close to where I wanted, but that big empty space of sky was not making me too happy. I did like the trees that were around, but I decided to step a little bit closer to a branch that was lower down so that I'd have something larger in the foreground. So the sketchbook itself has enough paper in it that I could do 365 paintings in it if I use both sides. And in a sketchbook this size, you can paint on both sides. The signatures are all sewn in by hand. It's just done beautifully. Crystal does an amazing job. She has other sizes too, so if you don't want one this big, you don't have to get one this big. But for this one, in order for it to lay flat, at different stages, I had to find different objects that will prop it up so that the top pages are flat. And I'll go through that cycle again this time. When you get to the middle of the book, both of the front and back cover lay flat on the table, but on the either side of it, you kind of have to prop it up if you want it flat. So I started with a little sketch of just the leaves that are in the foreground. The lowest part, those bigger leaves, because I wanted to at least be aware of where they were, even though some of it I was going to paint right through them, because the sky was going to be the thing to go in first. The sky in this particular case is going to be a really pale, very watered down Cabo blue plus a little bit of Verditer. And those two will just give me a nice sky color so that I can see the clouds that are there. I'm going to add a little bit of a transparent red oxide into this mix so that I can make a cloud color, a little kind of off gray, like a warm kind of gray color. Came out a little more brown in some ways, but it's not going to be noticeable when we get done. It's just going to feel like clouds up there. And I can even, dab off a little of that color if it's a little much. So I did decide to lighten some of it just a tidge, soften a few of those edges, and then completely dried it so it's ready for the next phase of the painting. I'm going to be painting from lightest to darkest. So I've got some Hansa yellow, mixing in just a little tiny bit of a turquoise. You can do this with any green to lighten it up and make it brighter, because some of these leaves, as you saw when we walked through, are on the brighter side. They've got a lot of sunshine coming through because I was standing in a place where the sun was streaming through. So if you're looking to take a reference photo for yourself, then pay attention to what in the image that you're going to be painting has what kind of greens in it. So when the sun is hitting the leaves, Sandy, the leaves from the back side, they're going to glow in the light. And then some of the other ones that might either be in a dense area or the leaf itself is just thicker, those are going to appear darker. And I wanted to have all those dark leaves behind and then have these bright leaves in the foreground. So just kind of painting this yellow greenish color and tossing it in here for the general trees around the background, and not really getting too fussy with it. This is a really big brush. It's a number 16 quill, so it was going to be too big to continue with, so I stepped down to a number 8 round brush. And I wanted to put in some of the details into a few of the leaves that are in the foreground, because I was a little worried that I would get so distracted by painting all those trees in the distance that I was going to lose track of where my big leaves were, even if I had pencil lines there, because they are very light. Now, when I get questions about mixing watercolor, I get a lot of people who are confused, like, I don't know how to mix a good green. And I think the secret in mixing a good green is having a couple options in your palette to mix a green from, whether it's mixing from a green or mixing different blues and yellows. But it's all about getting a mixture of different greens in one tree. Because if your whole tree is all one color, even if it's got value differences in it, it sometimes can feel cartoony, because in a cartoon, they just use one color for a tree. And if you want something to really look like it's for real, putting in a lot of different greens is going to be helpful. So I've got some of my mix has sap green in it. Some of it has hooker's green, that bright green that you see. Some of it I'm going to mix with a yellow. I'm going to throw blue in here at some point too, because there are so many greens in a forest that if you start getting all those different ones mixing together, it starts to feel more realistic, because the sun is hitting all the leaves at different amounts. Some of the leaves are getting hit directly with that sunlight, so they're going to have more yellow in them. Some of the leaves are going to be in shadow because they have a leaf above them that's casting a shadow on them, or they're thicker. So every tree, even if it's all one tree, these are different trees, but even if it's all one tree, it's going to have a variety of colors in it. So if you're struggling with just like, how do I mix a good green? Just mix a bunch of different greens. Like I've got on my palette here, I have one puddle that's more on the darker side and one that's more on the lighter side. Sometimes I'll have a corner of it that's going to have a punch of yellow in it, so that I have a whole different color to pull from. And then as I'm putting the wet colors down next to each other, they can easily blend into each other. And I have the option to start working my way into very light colors. And then I can also jump into an area that might have more punchy colors in it. And I was paying attention in this, not necessarily to the photo that I took of these trees, but I was paying attention to the leaves in the foreground and making sure that I had color on either side of them that was either dark enough or different enough that the leaf would look like it's between me and the tree in the background. So I was trying to maintain that, because I'm doing negative painting around those trees, but I'm not just painting a line around each of those leaves. I'm painting shapes around them, and the shapes need to kind of continue on one side or the other in order to let those little shapes appear to pop through. Some of the negative spaces in the trees above, if they're closer down to the ground, I'm leaving shapes of leaves. Get it? Leaving, shapes of leaves, lots of leaf puns here. And that's going to also indicate by texture, it's going to feel more like shapes. Because even though a tree that's really, really far away can almost look like polka dots, I wanted them to feel like trees, not polka dots. So there's a variety of sizes, a variety of colors, a variety of shapes, and I didn't want any of it to feel like it was the same as everything else. Even though it might feel like I'm just doing dots and spots, it's really helpful to have a whole variety in there so that you have all those different levels in distance and value in a painting like this. A lot of the techniques that I'm using in this are my usual tree techniques, even though I'm painting at the trees looking upward. And if you're interested in a whole lot more on how to paint trees specifically, I have these classes and they're called Landscape Foundations. And it was a series of classes that I developed, and I still have more to add to them, but I developed them to help students learn one element at a time. Because when I first learned to paint landscapes, I tried to paint the whole landscape, the clouds, the buildings, the trees, a whole treescape, the grass, the forest, like everything. And I got really sidetracked because there was so much going on. So what I did in these Landscape Foundations classes is the first one is one tree at a time. You just learn to paint one tree and get some of these techniques down. We talk about them in great detail. And you just learn how to create something that feels like leaves and build up those layers. The second one is how to make those trees look like a bunch of trees or treescapes. So you're not just painting one tree, and learning how to make it look like it's not a cutout shape. Let's do another cutout shape, which is what can sometimes happen because you look at a tree and you think, okay, that one looks like it's a pale green. That one looks like it's more of an olive green. That one looks like whatever. But all of them, their leaves touch each other and they intermingle as the trees are next to each other. And that's why here I'm saying just use all the greens, and I'm just balancing, going back and forth between them in value and in color to try to create the look that I want. So those two tree classes in particular are super helpful if you're looking to learn from trees. There's some other subjects in those classes too. There's one on rocks and ripples and seascapes, and I've got to add some snow this winter. So I'm hoping to do that by either maybe December, maybe January, something like that. So I'll be doing some snow paintings in there, and that's going to include tree branches, which is what I'm painting here. Tree branches can be the thing when you're adding it to the end of a painting like this. It can wreck everything if you don't get them looking like real tree branches. And one of the biggest things people forget is that tree branches are thicker as they're closer to the tree and thinner as they get out to the edges. And if you end up with clunky edges that are kind of hanging out there in the open air, you're going to end up with the thing looking like, like a stick hanging out there in the air. It's not going to look like a little twig, a little branch that's gently and daintily dancing across the treescape. So that's something that I'm going to tackle in more detail in the snow class, since that's when all the trees are going to be bare. So there's that. The tree class is also, if you're interested in painting fall trees, just change the colors, because it's the same process. It's the same, working from light colors to deeper, darker colors and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, just for those who are watching this video all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a little secret coupon code only for watchers of this video. How's that for getting a reward? So you can use the same coupon code for 3 different classes. One is the Landscape Foundations Trees 1 with 5 paintings of single trees. The second one is for Landscape Foundations 2, which has the treescapes in it. And the third one I'm going to add into it is Branching Out. That one's a level 2 class. It's for people who may not be quite ready for a level 4 class, but it talks about how to paint branches of leaves. And it's good for 10% off all 3 of those classes. You can get all 3 of them. You can get just one of them, whatever you want, using the coupon code Michigan. So here I am removing the tape and pulling that off so that I can reveal that nice white edge, except for that one spot. Did not seal it down. Usually this artist tape, if I run my fingernail down the edge, it makes a really nice crisp white edge, and it didn't do that, which was a bummer, but alas. So I realized at the very end that I didn't put any of the veins in the leaves. I'm not putting them all in, and I'm using very watered down paint, so some of it is going to fade right back into the leaf itself and not stand out as a really strong line, because I wanted something much lighter and simpler, etc. The branching out class talks about that a whole lot, so if you're looking for some very easy but doable leaves, that's a great class. Lots of people have really loved it. So there's my finished painting, my first one in my Sketch-A-Day. I am incredibly tickled that I no longer have to be scared of baptizing this sketchbook, because the first page is done, which is always the hardest. So if you're interested in a little bit more about Lake Michigan Book Press and how she makes the books, how you can get one, how you get to pick all different kinds of things like the color and the cover fabric and the threads and the paper and the everything, come over to Substack, because I did a little interview with her that I think you're going to love. And there's links to that, as well as links to the classes that you can use the coupon code for in the doobly-doo. And I will see you next time. In the meantime, keep creating something every day. I will see you later. Bye.